So, I have this Christian friend who I was talking with the other day, and she was telling me about how she chooses to trust in God and her relationship with God to inform her decisions as opposed to Scripture, because she sees that God could more easily reveal and identify himself through that spiritual connection than through Scripture. If my understanding is correct, part of the reason she chooses this course is she is worried that Scripture is too vague and too open to interpretation. Between translations of texts that are over several thousand years old and multiple different commentaries on the text, she just wants to be able to put her faith in God as a spirit rather than having to deal with all of the messiness in Scripture. Now, I really want to make sure I'm doing her justice and representing her the way that she wants to be represented, because I'm pretty sure she's going to see this video. And I do want to say, too, that it's not that she rejects Scripture, but rather she sees it as a secondary thing to her primary relationship with God. And while on the surface, I think this all sounds kind of really wonderful and positive, there is, in my opinion, a glaring error here. The easiest thing to tackle right away would be the worry about not being able to rely on Scripture. Despite the fact that we're dealing with texts that are 2,000 and some years old, we're dealing with texts that have had multiple iterations throughout time to verify the fact that they have been copied correctly. And we can check on which of those iterations has differences and when those differences occur chronologically. On top of that, Scripture has had multiple scholars over thousands of generations following these texts and interpreting them as they came out. We have rabbinic literature from times that predate Jesus on the Scriptures that predate Jesus. So even though there is a lot of messy work to be done to understand all of Scripture to its fullest, we do have the resources. I think the other issue with this line of thinking is the idea that a relationship with God can be maintained firstly without Scripture. This is something I'll probably tackle in a second part of the video, but to keep things short, Scripture says that the closest thing we have to a relationship with God is Scripture. It's the gospel, it's the news of Jesus Christ, which is in Scripture. So while it sounds really nice to try and prioritize this relationship with God on a spiritual level, to do so without using the intermediary of Scripture is extremely difficult and arguably impossible, unless if you somehow had an open line to God where he was speaking to you directly, something that I'm not sure anybody in history has had bar Jesus. Nevertheless, let me know what your guys' thoughts are, and I'll see you tomorrow.